Hi, my name is Kimberly Morris. I am going to be sharing some ideas using the Best Family Ever stamp set. I am a demonstrator in the US, so I can take orders at my site at kimberly.stampinup.net for the US and APO, FPO addresses only. My January host code is right here, AATNZEB7. And I just wanted to show you, sorry, my cat wants me to be in bed because I give her treats at night. So she's like all sad. So when I get my designer series paper, you could use a label or whatever, but I just took a permanent marker and wrote the colors. It does say the colors here, but they're very small. So I wrote the coordinating colors so that I could see them quite nicely. So I'm going to go back to my note card and envelope that I have and my Best Family Ever stamp set. And I decided that I wanted to use this Regency Park paper with 3 colors that I thought were light enough to be able to use one color ink pad. So the one color ink pad that I chose is Night of Navy, and I chose Balmy Blue, Petal Pink, and Mango Melody for cardstock colors that I'm going to stamp on. So we will go ahead, and each one of my cards is designed, like I said, around the note cards and envelopes. And these are, when they're folded over, they're 3.5 by 5 inches. So I've cut my paper for this, the size. I've cut the designer series paper to that I'm basing each of the cards on. Well, I should say 4 out of 5. I'll show you a pattern in just a minute. But most of them I'm basing them on cutting a 6 by 6 sheet to 3 inches by 4.5 inches, and using that to just cover the front of the card. So I like to use Stampin' Seal just because I don't like getting my fingers sticky. Let's see if I can line this up without sticking my head in the way. We'll hope that's pretty good. All right, and then what I did was I decided like what greeting I wanted to put on here and what color I wanted to put that on. So I'm just going to go ahead and let me score this one more time. Okay, so I wanted to pull out the Mango Melody in here. So I took a little strip. What I wanted to stamp was Happy Birthday, and it fits really well on a little 1/2 inch strip. So I'll just take that. And I'm going to show you in a minute. I've pulled apart some of my sayings, like snipped them apart. And Happy Birthday is one of the ones that I've snipped apart. So what I want to do is set that onto my grid paper and, you know, line up where I've trimmed it off of there. And like just kind of sticks together there. And then I'll make sure that's straight. And then stamping when you've got your head over here on the other side of the camera is kind of weird, but hopefully that lined that up straight. Then I'm just going to take my ink pad, ink this up, and I want the Happy Birthday to sort of be on this side. So I want to stamp it and leave a little bit of room on each side, so I think I'll stamp it right about there. So let me see if I can do this with my camera on without sticking my head in the way. It's always an adventure. Let's try that. Okay, that works. Put this back into the stamp set here for now. And I will take my trimmer. Let's close this before I stick my hand in it. I'm going to take my Stampin' trimmer and just trim the edge off. You could just use your snips, but it's late and I probably won't cut it straight, so I'll give it like, I don't know, 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch on the one side. And then on the other side, I'll probably just snip it. That's fine with me. So I'm going to have this over to the side here-ish. Take my paper snips. Here they are. So this is, got my little World Card Making Day from 2020 on there with my name on it. That was from Stephanie. That's pretty cool. She's got some really cool merchandise, especially like the laser cut little materials that she does. Those are pretty cool. So I've got that done. I'm just going to give it a little sort of banner edge. So I'm going to snip down the middle, and then from each corner snip in to that middle point. And that gives me a nice quick little banner. Get these out of the way. Okay, so we've got our happy birthday. And what I wanted to do with this was use the other side of this paper. So I have some that I've already cut over here. I think actually I was going to use the striped one, but it doesn't really stand out as much as another pattern. So actually I believe that what's this one? Yeah, I'll take a 1/2 inch off of this one. I believe this is the pattern that I used. So when you get your papers and you decide you're going to make some cards, like I said, I have a pattern I'll show you, and you'll want to go through and figure out like which patterns you want to use with others. You don't necessarily have to use the one that's right on the back side. Like I said, this one to me didn't seem like it stood out enough, so I picked this one. So this is on the back of a flowery one. So I'm going to figure out where I will have some overlap and maybe trim this right about here. And then I'm just going to make another little banner end, just like that other one that I did. So snip up the center and then go to each corner and snip up to the end of that mark that you snipped up the center. Okay, I'm going to put this one down maybe just about to the edge. You can put it all the way to the edge, but I just kind of like a little bit of that crumb cake or craft brown showing. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. I like to line up my cards with the, oh, my kitty's going to come up and say hi, with the grid paper. It kind of helps me figure out, you know, if how straight I am or how far off I am. And then this one I want to put on with dimensionals. So let me snip this little extra hangy outy piece because it's going to bug me. And you can use the big ones or the little ones. I have the little ones right here, and this is just a 1/2 inch strip. So let me go ahead and just put a few of these on here. And then these are really easy to take off, but some people like to poke them with the end of their scissors to pull the things off, or their little pokey part of the take your pick tool. So I'll line this back up again. This guy's going to go right about here. I like to turn it over and press because sometimes when you run your fingers over it, it kind of smears the ink. So with these cards, not only did I want to you know, use all of the same background with the craft note cards and envelopes, I also wanted to use the same bling and ribbon for all the cards. So I figured our Night of Navy bordered ribbon, this is new in the catalog. I thought that would be really pretty on there. And I thought the brushed metallic dots, the 3 different shades of them, seem like they'll work really well with all the cards. So I just decided to use those for all of them. So before I put the little bling on, I'm going to go ahead and put a ribbon on. And I'm going to show you kind of a, I guess, different way of doing it. What I want to do is I'm going to use my scissors kind of like an X-Acto blade. So I want the ribbon to kind of go down here, like right across there-ish. But I want it to come through the card. Now you can do this with layering, like before you put down your back layer, you could put your ribbon under there. But, you know, I just don't know a lot of times if I really want to do a ribbon or not. So this is a real easy way for me to just do it whenever. So I'm again going to kind of line it up using my grid paper, and I can pull it all the way across so that I know where it should line up on each side of this paper. And I'm just going to, on each side of the ribbon, just a little bit past where the ribbon is, and then right at the edge of where this designer series paper is, I'm going to put a little hole to mark with my scissors, my paper snips. So let me do that over here on this side. Okay, and then I hope I'm not going to mess up all my angles and everything, but what I'm going to do is move this for a second. This is a self-healing cutting mat. So what I'm going to do is open my scissors up and use them kind of like an X-Acto knife. If you need something to, you know, keep you from cutting into the other paper, you could use your bone folder. And I'm just going to drag my scissor tips from one of those little dots to the next one. And you can, you know, use this with, like I said, with your bone folder. It's a little hard to see when you're doing this on the camera. So, oops, where'd my other dot go? Lost my other dot. Got one dot there and one dot there. Turn that back over. Holy cow, where'd they go? Oh, there it is. It's just right up beside that paper, so it's really kind of hard to see. So I'll go from that dot to the center, and then from that dot to the center. And then I'm going to do it again right here. So I've got a dot here, and I've got a dot here. So I'm going to just put my snips, hey cat, from the one dot towards the center. And then I'm going to turn it around and then go from this dot towards the center. I'm going to have to ask you to get down, Katie. And then on the other side, you can go back and go over where your lines are, just to make sure that you got all the way through and that they're open. Okay, so let me see if I can assist my kitty on the floor. There you go, baby. And then I'll put my grid paper back up here. Okay, and you want to make sure, I mean, if you do this on your grid paper, you're going to poke through, you know, several sheets. So I would recommend that you, you know, do it on a self-healing cutting mat. Or if you happen to have like some old magazines or something around the house. Not many people do these days, but all right, so you want to make sure that you've got this open to where your ribbon can come through. So be careful and don't poke your fingers, but you can kind of put your scissors through and make sure that you've got some space there. Okay, and then what I've measured out, I just want to tie this in a knot. And I think I gave myself like about 12 inches of ribbon to work with. We'll see if I gave myself enough. So what you're going to do is you can poke it, you know, from the front to the back or the back to the front, however it works better for you. I think what I'm going to do is go from the back to the front. So I'll just take my scissors. You could take your pick tool or whatever, but I just have my snips out. And then I'll do that on this one as well. She found a piece of paper to stand on and crumple around, so it'll probably be noisy now. Silly kitty. All right, so I'm going to poke that through there. All right, and then You'll want to just kind of pull it back and forth until you get it where when you hold it and you kind of pull it down, this will be like the place where your bow is gonna, or your knot is gonna end up. And then you'll want to make sure that your little strings that you have left are pretty much even. So I'm just going to do a square knot, so that'll be the right over the left. And then I'll pull that and hold it. And then, don't you love fiddling with ribbon? And then left over right. That makes your square knot nice and tight. And then if you want to cut your little legs of your ribbon the same length, then pull them up beside each other to where they're like even around where the knot is. And then just cut whichever way you're going to do it. I think I was going to do it this way. Actually, I probably want them a little bit shorter. Let me try it a little bit shorter. So that was 12 inches worth of ribbon, and you can see I'm cutting quite a bit of it off. So I don't know, maybe you'd get away with 10 inches. But it's just, you know, having the room to sort of fiddle with it, you know, to tie the knot. That's good enough. And then if you want to keep that knot from going anywhere, you can take your mini glue dots. Sometimes like a whole dot, if you put a whole dot underneath there, you can kind of see the edges. So I sort of roll it up and just take my paper snips and tuck that underneath the knot there, and then that'll help it stay where I want it. Okay, and then we have some bling. I think which ones did I want to put on here? I think these ones, the bronze colored ones, work out pretty well. So I'll do, let's see, I'll go ahead and do one. Do one there. That's one of the bigger ones, and then I'll do like a couple of little ones, like maybe, oh, I don't know. I like putting them in the center of the flowers, because then it looks like that's like where they're supposed to be, but also it kind of can make them easier to see. So we'll put those 3 there. So then we've got our cute little card. One of the things about this Best Family Ever stamp set is not just the greetings, you know, like happy birthday, congratulations, you're in my thoughts, thanks. One of the cool things about it that it was intended for is for personalizing your cards. So we've got our happy birthday card here. Let me just try and get this to stay flat. And now we want to personalize the inside. So I want to take some more of this Mango Melody, and I'll just cut a little strip. It doesn't have to be very big. I'm not going to cover the whole inside because this Mango Melody is like really bright, and I don't necessarily want to see it, you know, when the card is, you know, slightly open like that. So I will just do, let's see, maybe about that wide, maybe about that tall. Let's see, what is that? 1 and 1 1/4 inches? Sure, we'll call that good. So that's about 3 inches by 1 1/4 inches. Hey, let's trim it and make it exact, right? All right, so I am just going to use some of these stamps in here now. We have From Your, so I'm going to use From Your. I happen to have cut them apart, and I'll show you why in just a second. And I'm going to say From Your Mom-in-Law. So happy birthday from your mom-in-law. Okay, So this is going to end up going inside here. I'm going to kind of lay these out where I want them. When you're doing greetings that are going to go inside something, and it's going to be like a few different words, if you can kind of lay the stamps out and figure out exactly, like, you know, where the center is, it can be helpful. So, all right, so I'm going to use the From Your first and work with that. Sorry, I'm probably keeping this all the way down near the bottom. It'd be easier for you to see it if I push it up here. So I'll take the From Your, put that, it sounds like a motorcycle's outside, on my stamp block. Okay, so From Your, we take that same Night of Navy ink pad, ink that up, and that I want kind of in the center there. Is that straight? Sure. Okay, and then again, like I said, I need to clean these off right away and take them off. This block that I'm using is the G block. It fits these little words really well. And even the bigger ones in this set fit on there, but some of them are kind of long for it. Okay, so I'm going to do Mom-in-Law. In-law is kind of like one thing already together, so it's already got the spacing on it, but I'm not going to be able to push this stamp that says Mom on it right up next to it where I want that dash to be. So I'm just going to kind of hold it up here so I can get the spacing and see where I want it. So basically, looks like I want that I to go, that's going to be my center right in between the words From and Your. So first I'm going to stamp In-law, because I know where that's going to land. Again, let me see if I can stamp this with, this will be interesting. Very hard to do back here. Okay, so there's In-law. And then, because like I said, I couldn't get the mom part, you know, kind of butt up right next to the dash if I put it on the block, because it's got, you know, kind of the, you know, the base of it is just a little bit wider. I just wanted to do that last. So I'm going to pull this down near me to do this, because I'm going to mess this up if I don't. So pardon me if you see my head. But the nice thing about these photopolymer ones is you can see through them. So I can see where that dash is. All right, that was a tiny bit too close, but that's okay. So that's Mom-in-law. So you can see you've got, you know, mom, dad, son, daughter, cousin, grand for like granddad, I guess, but you've got grandpa, grandma here. I suppose like grandniece or grand uncle or great uncle, or you've got mom and mom. So got a lot of things that you can choose from. Interestingly enough, it's called, the stamp set's called The Best Family Ever, and it's got a little saying down here that says like best ever, but there's nothing that says family, so you can't just do like from your family. Although you kind of can. I have a trick that I'll show you in just one second. You can use this stamp set basically for an alphabet. So hang tight and I'll show you that. So here we go. I'm just going to put that in here up at the top. And then we have happy birthday from your mom-in-law or mom-in-law, or however you want to put that. And then the last part of this card is creating the envelope to go with it. So this is one of the envelopes from the note card and envelope set. I just want to fold it, and then I'll kind of fold it back again. And then a 2" by 6" piece of designer series paper will go over it, and I like to use the pattern that I used underneath. So here's my 2 by 6 piece. So what I'll do is take the liquid glue. Put that on there. And then just kind of gently put this on here with the edge near that end there. Just touch it on there, and then you're going to want to fold it over, and then you'll see like if you need to slide it up a little bit. But you don't want to slide it up so much that it's showing on this side. So just get it, kind of move it around a little bit, line it up right where you want it. And then you can take your bone folder, do that. Let me close this again before I stick my hand in it. And then take your snips again. Looks like I got some glue on them from doing this earlier, but then you just follow the envelope around from the back side and snip off the excess. I mean, you could leave it like that with square edges, but I don't, so. And you just go through there, trim around, and then you've got your coordinating envelope. Ta-da! So you've got this nice pretty card with a coordinating envelope. And before we go any farther, I want to show you a little bit about the what I was talking about with the stamp set, and then I'll show you some other cards that I've made and show you a real quick pattern before I go. So the Best Family Ever stamp set has all these sayings. You can also split out all the letters. So I'll show you really quick. When you have the letter at the end or at the beginning of one of these words, it's easier to isolate it. What I've been doing is just taking a piece of masking paper, and let's say I want to get the A from the word aunt, or aunt, however you say that. I will take a little piece of masking paper that's going to fit over it. And then you want to make sure that before you do anything, your entire stamp is clean. So always clean it before you do anything else. Well, let it dry kind of a little, and then, oops, got a cat hair on it. And then just stamp it gently on your paper, on your grid paper, to see if anything comes off. If nothing comes off, then you're good. So then I'm going to take my masking paper here, and if I can get it to separate. I cut it the long way. There's like little breaks in the sticker back if you cut it the other way. But I wanted long strips instead of short strips. So I'm just going to put this over the letters that I don't want. And you can see like that's hanging out the bottom. I don't want that to hang out. So let me try again. Sometimes if you are having a problem with kind of like the angle of the letter, especially with these, there's like enough space to where you can sort of just lay your snips down in there, and then just bring down the top of your snips, and then you get that angle that you need to make sure that you can get right in there and cover everything up, right? So I like to kind of stamp down and then look at it again and make sure that I'm I don't have anything else exposed that I don't want. And then I'll just go ahead and stamp on this little bit using my Knight of Navy. The biggest thing that you need to remember is to remove this paper after you ink up. So you're going to ink up, it's going to get that letter A, and the ink is going to go on the masking paper instead of the rest of the letters. So just make sure you give yourself a little tail that's long enough to pull that off, and then you can just stamp down and you get the letter that you want. So again, like I said, it's easiest if you can find the letter at the beginning or the end of a word. Sometimes you do have to isolate them, you know, from both sides of the word or the greeting. So most of the letters here you can find. So I think the ones that I had a hard time with were J. And what I did for the J was I just masked off that part of the Y in baby, and that made a J. K was a little hard to find, but you can see it's just the R. So just mask off that little part right there, and then you get a K. We've got the L, M, N, O, P. Like I said, Q was a little bit difficult. I tried to mess around with like maybe silicone, you know, to reverse it, but really it's best to just take the O and then take the little dash from in-law and then put that down there, and then you've got your Q. So we had the R, S, T, U, V. I don't believe we had the V. I think what I did for the V was I took the N and I masked off everything up to there, and you know, obviously you turn it right side up for a V. So that's how I got the V. There's a W in there. X was another challenging one. I took the L from in-law and I just sort of masked off that little, you know, bottom of the L that comes across so that it was just, you know, one long piece. And then I just did that twice. And of course, when you do that, you're going to have to block off this side as well, and then block off the little end of the L so that you just get that up and down piece. So that's the X. The Y is at the end of baby, and then Z is just the N. It's just sideways. So that's how you can get all of the alphabet from here. You might notice that it has mom and mum and dad, but it doesn't have mother or father, but that's not a problem. So you can get mother by taking brother, and then just the M, isolate the M from mom, and then you've got mother. Father, I kind of messed this up the first time. You'll want to, it helps if you do the last part of the word first, especially if there are letters that are, you know, all together, like the O-T-H-E-R or just T-H-E-R, because you get the spacing done for you, you know, more of the way rather than having to do it on your own. So I find that just doing the last part of the word first is really helpful. So we have friend here, but you can add the S if you isolate that from son to get friends. Father, we've got the T-H-E-R. So you're going to want to isolate that and then isolate the A, and then isolate the F from friend to put that on there. So there's a couple of other things you can do with the little words. So I noticed it had from your, but it didn't have on your. So if you isolate that from the word bonus, then you get on, and then from your, you can just kind of snip that apart so that you can use the your by itself. Same thing with to your, you've got to my, you can kind of snip those apart, and then you've got, you know, to your that you can use, or you take off the R, mask that off the end, you've got to you. We've got love, comma, you can mask the comma and then just have love you, that you where you mask the R off of there. Or because there's a good space right in here, you can snip. This is what I did to have a you, to have the word you. I snipped like right up there and then right in there. And it just snipped that word you away just cleanly, but it's also got kind of like an arrow, so it just goes right back in, and I can easily line that back up if I want to use it all as it was originally intended. And then another thing that this works really great with is the alphabet a la mode dies, because you've got an alphabet here that you can stamp, but you don't have any numbers, right? And you've got numbers here, but you don't have any kind of, I don't remember what those are called, but like, you know, the ST and the TH, you know, like first and second and third and whatever. But you can get those from the little words, right? So you've got like ST from the word best, ND isolated from the word and, TH isolated from the word thanks, and then RD I had to isolate an R and then the D here from and. So that was probably the most challenging one. But the thing is, if you want to use these dies, you don't have anything that's like, you know, going to say first or second or whatever. So this is really great to use this stamp set along with the alphabet a la mode dies. So I will show you a sample of one of the cards that I did with that, just to show you what I mean. So this one just says, you know, happy 21st, and then congratulations. So those two work together really well. I think that was all I was going to show you about the stamp set, but what I want to show you now is my cutting template. So with the Regency Park Designer Series paper at 6x6, you have 48 total sheets, so there's 4 each of those 12 different patterns. You can make 5 cards from each 4 sheets. So remember how I was telling you the panels on the front of this card, you know, that I kind of modeled it after are the, you know, 3 inches by 4.5. So you would first cut off just the 1.5 inches from the bottom of this, and then you can cut these 2 pieces in half at 3 inches. So you're gonna have 3 by 4.5. You're gonna have 4 pieces of those. Like I said, make sure you cut off these bottoms first so that they're nice and long, because if you cut them in half, then you're a little more limited on how you can use them. And then you have 5 2x6 pieces for envelopes. So C1 is card 1, C2 card 2, then C3, C4, C5 is card 5. So while most of them are, you know, this 3 by 4.5, they're modeled after that. When you get to the end of it, you've got these pieces here that are 2 by 3. And what I did was cut the 2 by 3 pieces here, and I actually cut them in half. So you can do that if you want to have them like that, or you could have like 2 panels next to each other, however you want to do that. But this is a pattern so that you can get 60 cards total from the Regency Park 6x6 DSP. The cards that I made are this happy birthday card. So obviously that's a 4x3. And then this one, I did Happy Mother's Day. Again, I had to isolate some things to get that to show up. Congratulations on your new baby. And then this is the last one that I was telling you about, with these 2 panels that are 2 by 3. And then here's this other one. So we've got all of these 4 based on the 3 by 4.5 panels, and then this one is the 2 inch by 3 inch panels, which I actually cut in half. So that'll give you all 4 strips, if that makes sense. These are 1 by 3, each of these strips. Okay, I just want to make sure that was clear. The only other thing that you want to look at when you are looking at this cutting template is papers that have a certain direction. So like if you want to make sure that your envelope, the stripes are going this way, then just be clear on what paper you're cutting. Again, these are the envelope ones. So if you know you're cutting the envelopes from, you know, 3 envelope pieces from one sheet, then make sure that your stripes are oriented the way that you want them on your envelope flap. So the happy birthday, that's the one that I demonstrated from your mom-in-law. So that's the personalization in there. The congratulations on your new baby. That one says from your wonderful sister, because you know you got to tell your sister how wonderful you are. And then it's got another little piece in here that I just folded down the edges and glued that down just so that you could put a little gift card in there. And then Happy Mother's Day. This one I said, love your husband. So, I mean, like, I don't know how many guys are going to make the card. I thought it was a really super pretty card. And I'm not trying to brag or anything, but the paper is really pretty and it just made it come out really nice. So, you know, you could take orders to make a whole bunch of cards like this, you know, make a set of cards for people. The You're in My Thoughts friend card, I didn't put anything in there, but I did put the coordinating color panel inside. And then the Happy 21st, congratulations, that I put from your son and daughter. Thanks to Stephanie for letting me participate. I'll make sure that I get some good photos for this, and all the instructions will have all the information on, you know, like what you would need to order. It'll have the cutting template and everything like that in it. So if you want to get that PDF, Stephanie has that on sale. I think it's, is it $25 Canadian? But it's for charity. So it all goes to, I think it's the Michael J. Fox Foundation. I can't remember. But anyway, it's for a good cause. It all goes to charity. And you can get that PDF from Stephanie, and it will have all the instructions for all the cards that were demonstrated. Enjoy the new catalog. I'm really excited to watch everyone else's presentations, and I really appreciate your watching mine. Happy stamping!